by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, by the sign. The agenda this evening. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. Now it's time for my report. We do not have any board, committee, or personnel appointments this evening. Are there any reports of boards, agencies, or commissions? Seeing none, items of information, I just want to thank Ashton and Steve Lane for all of the hard work that they and everyone else did to make the Fall Festival such a great event. There were so many people down there, y'all, that several vendors actually sold out of everything. So some of them even the first day. So we were glad to celebrate together as a community. It was a great day for the city of Danville. Lots of other items of information for you, but I'll save those till later until it's time for us to celebrate. Madam Clerk, at this time, are there any petitions, communications, or audience comments?
I haven't received any audience participation cards. Did you wish to speak?
If there's anyone who wishes to speak, please come to the podium, and if you could give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
My name is Ronnie Canada. My address is 27 South Kimball Street here in Danville. And firstly, I just want to say to the city council, or ask the city council, if there's anything that you can do about the individuals here who have felony backgrounds and are looking for employment. And there are several employers here that are looking for people to come work for them. And I know that now applications, they don't ask if you have a felony or not, but they do background checks. And then people are denied employment because of that. So I don't know if there's anything you can do about that, but just thought I'd put it out there. And then secondly, I just want to say that we do have a Native American, not a Native American, but a Native Danville member who's missing now, Jelani Day. And I'm hoping that everyone here will keep his family in their thoughts and in their prayers that Jelani is found. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Canada. Absolutely, we can work with you on helping individuals who might be seeking employment. Could you make sure that the clerk has your phone number before you leave, ma'am, and that way we can be in touch? Very good. Thank you so much. Mr. President Butler.
Good evening there, Mr. Mayor. I am Ed Butler. I am the NAACP president here in Danville. Also, I am the manager of our pandemic navigating program here within Danville. What I am passing out now on this Saturday. So we're having a Danville branch NAAC pandemic health awareness event. And this event is open to the public. It's going to be at the Temple Plaza, 102 North Vermilion Street, Danville, Illinois. And it's going to be from noon until 3 o'clock. Our guest speakers for that day will be Senator Scott Bennett, our representative Mike Marin, and our Honorable Mayor Ricky Williams. We also will be a representative from the Health Department, as well as a representative from Aunt Martha's. On that day, so we're going to be giving out backpacks to our students, and along with school supplies, as well as information on the COVID-19. What my program does is we educate the people on the pandemic and the cause of the COVID-19. Now, we've done service over 1,000 people here in Danville. Knocking on doors and educating the people on the COVID, the vaccine, and our program is going to end in October or the 31st, but this pandemic has not ended. It seems like it's going to be with us for a while, and we are seeking finances to continue our program for another year. But if you're not doing anything on this coming Saturday, please come and support us. And I don't know if there's any other navigating system here within Danville that do what we do. My navigators has been intensely trained, three-day training, and we're still training. It's been 7 months, and we're still in training. And so they are well qualified to go out and to educate people to get the vaccine. The more people we get vaccinated, the better and the quicker we can get rid of this virus that's affecting our Danville. I lost a niece this past week on Sunday. She had COVID and she had underlying condition. And so I lost her on Sunday, and as well, I lost a cousin that had COVID. And he was brought home from school by his grandchildren. So people, this COVID is real. So you won't realize it, and if you're against it, you won't realize it until it hits your household. So let us all continue to be about our masking, and let us get the vaccine. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, President Butler. As a reminder, there are multiple opportunities to receive the vaccination free. So if you have not done so yet and you're medically able, I would challenge and encourage you and urge you to do so. This is a matter of public safety and public health. You'll not only be helping protect yourself, but those around you and the community.
Mr. Mayor, we're also going to have some vaccines on that Saturday, the J&J and hopefully some boosters on that day.
Thank you, President Butler. We've also offered a couple of vaccination opportunities through our mass transit system, and we will be offering at least one more opportunity as well. So there will be plenty of opportunities. And there will be plenty more for you to be vaccinated. So please do get vaccinated. Yes, Alderman Pashard.
I was just wondering, is this a branch of the Three Kings ministry also, or is this separate?
Well, we'll say we're all in the same group together, and but the NAACP is kind of more or less by itself. The Three Kings, so we march and mentor our kids in the schools. But the NAACP, so we take care of the whole city as a whole, any issues that we might have, and we just had an opportunity through the Pandemic Health Association to get a grant to cover for 8 months to do contact tracing and to educate the people. So that's what the NAACP done. But the Three Kings of Peace, so we march for peace and take care of our young people and try to stop some of this shooting and domestic violence.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council this evening? Seeing none, we do not have any zoning petitions this evening. However, we do have the vouchers payable for September 10th. I'm sorry, we do have the payrolls for September 10th and September 17th. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Pertell,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Hoare,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Pashard,
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. You also have before you the vouchers payable for September 14th and September 21st, as well as a special run on September 14th. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
I have some questions.
Yes, Alderman Teague.
Okay, on 921, there's a very large payable for PSB lease. What time period is that for?
Comptroller Massey will answer that for you. I think they're just having.
Sorry, I was turning my mic on. That is for half of the year of our PSB lease plus the entire year bond payment. Part of our agreement with the Public Safety Building Commission is that we pay a portion of the bond payment for the building, but the lease portion of that is half the year. The other half is due in 6 months.
And then there was a reference on 921 to a litigation. Is that something that came up previously, or is this something that would be coming before council at a later time?
What page, if you don't mind?
It's on the 921 payables. It's to Ansel Glink Diamond Bush And that's all I wrote down. So there's, I think, other names of the law firm. It's a small amount, but the invoice description just said Pierce litigation, and that's all it said.
That is regarding our fire truck refurbishment.
Okay.
Alderman Tiga, several years ago, we had the frame of one of our newly purchased fire engines begin failing. Nationally, there was a lawsuit against them. We entered into it. It was a class action lawsuit against them, and so that's for part of that.
Okay.
Alderman Tiga, did you have any further questions?
There was another one. I'm trying to find it. I have it written down for Prairie Material on 729 also.
Prairie Material. Do you know what page it was on, Alderman T?
I did not write down the page number. I can follow up on it later if necessary if it can't be found.
Oh, here, Mayor, is that the prairie materials for the sidewalk, curb and gutter?
Yes.
Chairman, what
Chairman.
page is that on?
On page 3 of 4 on the 21st.
So is that a portion of something that then was shared with a homeowner or?
Engineer Cole?
Yeah, so we have a program where basically up to $2,000 per year per household, we will pay for the concrete material for work that they do within the public right of way.
Okay.
So that would be sidewalk, curb, their driveway, whatever. So if people want to do that program, they can contact Public Works and get more information.
Okay, thank you. Those are all questions I had.
Thank you, Alderman T.
Looks like you done it.
Are there any other questions? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Iverson,
Yes.
Alderman Brown,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streaming, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes. Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Bertel,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries. At this time, we will receive our Public Works Committee report. Chairman Poor.
Thank you, Mayor. 11A is a resolution authorizing a budget amendment to the fiscal year 21-22 Information Technology Division 020 budget. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Brown,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streaming, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Bertel,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
11B is a resolution awarding bid for fleet liability insurance, bid number 678. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll, Vice Mayor
I
Iverson.
just wanted to take note. It was noted at our Public Works meeting. This always seems like a lot of money, but this is actually $10,000 less than last year because of the improvements they've made.
Thank you for pointing that out, Vice Mayor. Because of the improvements that they've made and the safety improvements in particular, I believe this is the third year in a row that our cost has gone down in that area. So great job, team. The eighth. Oh, wow. The eighth year in a row. I stand corrected and happily so. Thank you, Director B. Any further questions or comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Alderman O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streaming, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Bertel,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
11C is a resolution approving the purchase of 2 pickup trucks. Move to dispense reading, ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate?
You want to see what those are for and things?
Yes, these 2 trucks are to replace 2 of the automotive units that the inspection department uses. Those vehicles that they are currently using are old police squad cars that have more than seen their lifetime.
Thank you, Director. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Poor,
Yes.
Streaming, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
York.
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Bouchard.
Yes.
Pertel.
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
11D is a resolution approving a professional service agreement for flow monitoring and sanitary sewer evaluation study in various locations and amendment of this, I'm assuming that should be storm and sanitary sewer fund fiscal year 21-22 budget. Move to dispense reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Before we have any discussion or debate, I just want to let you all know, as you all know, unfortunately, we have a lot of places where our infrastructure, especially as it pertains to stormwater and sewer, are failing in various places. As a result, we get flooding in streets, sometimes things backing up into people's homes. This will be the beginning of a comprehensive study that will allow us to determine where we have problems and also to help be a little bit proactive so that we can hopefully line some of these pipes instead of replacing them. Lining them versus replacing them, let's say if it costs us $1 million to completely replace it, it would only cost us $200,000 to line, and it would give us another 40 to 60 years of life. So although this seems like a lot of money, it's an effort that will hopefully save us a lot of money. That way we can do more actual work repairing and replacing sewers around the community. Any questions or comments? Yes, Alderman Teague.
I guess this question is for Engineer Cole. How did we go about identifying the key areas to study?
All right, sorry, tech support. Anyway, so we've got a couple different ways that we've approached that. This last year, we actually took approximately 10 years worth of sewer call information. We mapped that in our GIS system, looked at, we worked with the IT department and with Adam All using GIS to create heat maps of areas throughout the city that show us where the most frequent problems are. To help us identify those. That admittedly is a little tricky because there are problems pretty much everywhere in the city, to varying degrees. We also looked at if there are areas that we have known major capital improvements coming, like we have to replace a big sanitary sewer lift station or something. We've keyed on those areas so that we have the data that we need to do the appropriate job of that and get the kind of ball moving there. There's also, the Eastgate area is an example of where we don't necessarily have backups, but we know we have excess flow issues, and we don't want that to be a hindrance to economic development out in that area with some of the potential developments coming down the pipeline. So that's just a few examples. I guess another factor is SSOs or sanitary sewer overflows are a major factor in that decision making, and that's an example of like where sewage literally is coming out of the ground during rain events or frequently coming into people's basements, rather than it just being maintenance issues. It's be like a recurring problem, and those are kind of hot button issues for us. So.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Teague, did you have any further questions?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. All right. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
York.
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Bouchard.
Yes.
Pertel.
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
11E is a resolution approving a professional service agreement for the Ellsworth Park Lift Station study. Move to dispense reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
York.
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Bouchard.
Yes.
Pertel.
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
O'Kane.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
11. Ramon, you're up.
F.
11F, a resolution to approve the purchase of combination sewer cleaning and hydro excavating truck and amend the sanitary and storm sewer Fund 402 for the fiscal year budget 2021-2022. Move to dispense reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Ludwig.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
York.
Yes.
Wands.
Yes.
Bouchard.
Yes.
Bertel,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
11G is a resolution approving the utilization of CDBG public service funds for project success of Vermillion County. Move to dispense with reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? And please note that the petitioners are here, should we have any questions. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Bertel,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
11H is a resolution authorizing a budget amendment to the fiscal year 21-22 Parks and Public Property Division 51 budget. Move to dispense with reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Bertel,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
11I is a resolution appropriating MFT funds for the preliminary engineering services for the South Street Bridge over Stony Creek. Move to dispense with reading and ask for your approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman York,
Yes.
Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Bertel,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
Mayor, I don't believe there are any items of information. Okay, that concludes our report.
Thank you very much, Chairman. At this time, we will receive our Public Services Committee report. Vice Chairman Pickering.
Yes, 12A, I need a motion and a second to accept and place on file the Treasurer's Report for June 2021.
So move.
Second. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 12B is the resolution authorizing budget amendment to fiscal year 2021, 2022 Office of Personnel and Human Relations 19 budget. I need, let's see, at this time, I'll make a motion to dispense of the reading, and I need a second. Second. Are there any questions or debate? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Alderman Wands,
Yes.
Bouchard,
Yes.
Bertel,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Poor,
Yes.
Streebing, Pickering,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
York,
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries.
Any items of information from the public service? Seeing none, we will have our next public service meeting on Tuesday, September the 28th.
Very good. Thank you, Vice Chairman. Are there any items of information for the good of the cause at this time?
Your Honor, I just think we should have a reception every meeting because we moved through the business. like no.
Thank you. I did want to note to the public, you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, these folks just sat up here and said a whole bunch of yes without even discussing it. I would like you to know that all of these items come to us beforehand in committee. So these were discussed in Public Works Committee last week. So they have been discussed rather extensively. People have asked questions as well. So I'm proud to tell you we don't have a bunch of yes men and women up here. They're folks who actually think and prepare. So I just want to let everyone know that. Any other items of information for the good of the cause? There is one more that was mentioned by Miss Canada. As you all know, unfortunately, we have a young man who's one of our own, Mr. Jelani Day. His grandmother often comes and talks to us here about various things she's concerned about with the city of Danville. This is one of our own. This is one of our own people. We always say here, see something, hear something, know something, say something. Someone out there has seen, heard, or knows something. Please, please bring this young man home if he's still alive. And if for some reason he's not, please let his family know that so that they might have some peace. If you know anything, it is your duty to tell. If this were your child, if this were your brother, this were your friend, your cousin, your aunt or uncle, you would be praying and begging that folks would say something. So please, please do. If you know something, say something. Are there any other items of information? At this time, we come to the part of the ceremony that I think many of you came here for. I just want to give you a brief outline of how this is going to go, just so you'll know what to expect. At first, the council and I will present a proclamation honoring the 7 plaintiffs. After that, Senator Scott Bennett will give some brief remarks. After that, we will have a brief presentation by Alderman Robert Williams from Ward 1, Alderwoman Brenda Brown from Ward 1, and then Alderwoman Sherry Pickering from Ward 3. Then I will make a few comments and a presentation. Then we will honor each of you one by one, and we'll ask you to give remarks at that time. Just so you'll know, I'll call you up in the order that you were listed in the lawsuit. So if someone is listed before you, please don't be upset. That's why, okay? At this time, I would entertain a motion honoring the 7 plaintiffs and making today, September 21st, 7 Plaintiffs' Day in the city of Danville. Is
So-
there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion or debate? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. I'm going to read to you now, gentlemen and families, the proclamation. Whereas on January 14th, 1987, Albert Derrickson, Eugene Thompson, Roosevelt J. Davis, Bashir Ali, Frank Abram, Nate Cunningham Sr., and Wentz H. Cunningham Jr., better known as the 7 plaintiffs, filed a lawsuit against the city of Danville, Illinois, for violation of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, and requested that members of the city council be elected from single-member districts rather than in at-large elections. And whereas the court found that the lingering effects of segregation and racial isolation in Danville created socioeconomic disparities between Black and white citizens in the fields of employment, education, and income, and disparities showed existence of racially polarized voting. And whereas the court found that Black citizens were unable to elect candidates of their choice and that no Black person had been elected to council in the 60 or more years of its existence under the commission form of government. We all know that it had been 160 years since the founding of Danville. Whereas on February 3rd, 1987, in order to settle the lawsuit and cure any possible violation of the Voting Rights Act, the 7 plaintiffs and the city entered into a consent decree which ordered that Danville be governed by a council and mayor and be divided into 7 wards, which elect 2 aldermen per ward. Whereas on the same day, the city council passed ordinance number 7229, determining it was in the best interest of its citizens to adopt the consent decree, and adopted the final consent decree on February 24th, 1987, via ordinance number 7236. And there's a reason I'm listing these. I think it's important for us to be able to go back and read and see our history. Whereas on September 15th, 1987, the first Black alderman, Eugene Thompson and Lester Brown, were elected to the Danville City Council in Ward 1. And whereas the 7 plaintiffs' decision to fight for the rights of African Americans and other minorities changed the trajectory of the city of Danville and will forever be known as one of the greatest acts of courage in the city's history. Now I, therefore, Ricky Williams Jr., Mayor of the city of Danville, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, September 21st, 2021, as 7 Plaintiffs' Day in the city of Danville. And I join with the city council to proclaim this day the 7th Plaintiffs' Day. In witness thereof, I have signed my hand and caused the seal of the city of Danville to be affixed this 21st day of September, 2021. At this time, I am going to turn around the podium and welcome to the floor Senator Scott Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor, and esteemed members of the City Council. The mayor, like myself, is a student of history, so some of what I'll say will be a repeat of what Mayor Williams said, but this is worth saying twice. Good evening. My name is Scott Bennett, and as your state senator, it is my honor and privilege to be here in our community to honor a group of 7 men: Frank Abram, Bashir Ali, Coach Nate Cunningham Sr., Wentz Cunningham Jr., the Reverend Roosevelt R.J. Davis, Albert Pete Derrickson, and Eugene Radio Thompson. These brave men banded together and helped make the city of Danville a better and more equitable place. Before the actions of the Danville 7, or 7 plaintiffs, they've been called different things, Danville, like many communities around the state at that time, had an at-large commission governmental system that did not fairly represent the entire city of Danville. In 1986, a group of concerned community activists in Springfield filed a lawsuit against their city, accusing Springfield's governmental system of violating the Voting Rights Act. The actions in Springfield and the subsequent verdict ensured a switch to an aldermanic or ward form of government, and that inspired the Danville 7 to demand the freedom and representation for the African American community in their own community. On January 14th, 1987, the Danville 7 filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court, then in Danville, stating the city's commission form of government diluted their representation in city government. After a year of fighting in court, Judge Harold Baker sided with the Danville 7, saying that the current governmental system was in fact unfairly keeping African Americans off the city council. Later that year, after a new election under the aldermanic system, Radio Thompson and Lester Brown were elected in Ward 1. For that, I've prepared a proclamation thanking for their service the Danville 7 and presented this date. Whereas the members of the Illinois State Senate are pleased to honor the Danville 7 on September 21st, 2021. And whereas the Danville 7, Frank Abram, Bashir Ali, Coach Nate Cunningham Sr., Wentz Cunningham Jr., R.J. Davis, Pete Derrickson, and Radio Thompson put their reputations and even their lives on the line for the disenfranchised. And whereas these 7 men filed a federal voting rights lawsuit in order to change the structure of the Danville city government. And whereas they were successful in changing the structure from an at-large system to an aldermanic system that promotes equity in the makeup of elected officials here in Danville. And whereas this Danville 7 forever set an example of determination, perseverance, and the spirit of public service. Therefore, be it proclaimed by the Senate of the 102nd General Assembly of the State of Illinois that we honor and give thanks to these 7 proud Americans who saw an opportunity to make their home a better and more fair place to live. And be it further proclaimed that a suitable copy of this resolution will be presented to each of these men or their representatives as a symbol of our esteem and respect. These sons of Danville changed our history for the better, creating opportunity for those whose voices had previously been shut out from the halls of government. I hope they'll accept this proclamation from the state as a token of our gratitude, appreciation, and pride in what Danville has become due to their bravery. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. At this time, I would like to welcome to the podium our own Alderman Robert Williams. Just so you'll know, we are live streaming this on Facebook, as well as we have some members of our team that are taking pictures too, and we will make those available to the public after completion. So we got you covered, Alderman Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I would like to welcome everyone here today. We're here to honor and recognize the 7 individuals that were very courageous, and they came together during that period of time when the segregated policies of a commission form of government hindered people of color and minorities any stay or information that they needed to require a decent living. As an individual born here in Danville and went to all the public schools, college school, Danville High School, Danville Junior College, didn't really see the effect of racism, segregation, until I joined the Army, went overseas, come back, went to several states. And in these travels, I seen all the disparities that were happening throughout the country. And Danville, like any of the other cities, was faced with the same inequalities and disparities, both in education opportunities, housing availabilities, medical access, and employment opportunities under the former commission form of government. These individuals were without a seat at the table, which was occurring in Danville. Minorities and other underprivileged individuals were not able to attain any form of equality. In 1987, the change was brought about by these 7 due to their petition and lawsuit. As a current minority alderman, I, along with the other minorities in the city government, wish to thank the 7 individuals that took action and sacrifice that made the city of Danville a more equality type of living experience. We must continue to fight locally and nationally for equality and justice for minorities and each individual within the city, because threats to our actual way of living has been attacked each day. Again, thanks for the wisdom and efforts of the 7 complainants that we can provide equal representation for all residents of the city of Danville. And again, I know a bunch of the Cunninghams are here in Grove, and I grew up with a lot of them, Wentz, Nate, and I'm glad to see everyone here today. And again, I want to thank you for me being here.
Thank you, Alderman Williams. At this time, I would like to invite Alderwoman Brenda Brown to the podium.
Good evening, and I also would like to welcome the plaintiffs that remain and are here this evening. I'd like to welcome the family members that are here to represent and all involved in our Senator Bennett there. We appreciate all, and all of our council people, our mayor. We serve here and are here this evening because of the 7 plaintiffs. So if I were to take a subject tonight when I was asked to speak, I would say the cause of freedom, the cause of equality. To the 7 plaintiffs. Today, we honor you for your devotion to the city of Danville, Illinois, your mindfulness of societal values for the city of Danville, Illinois. Because you move forward with determination to change the form of government in the city of Danville, Illinois, this time I do thank you. This civil rights movement was an exciting time for the African-American citizens of Danville, Illinois. So on September 15th, 1987, Danville, Illinois elected its first African-American men to the city council. My husband, Lester M. Brown, and Eugene Radio Thompson were the first African Americans elected to the city council. The change of government in Danville was an exciting time, yet it was a challenging time. Soon after the election in 1987, I recall a conversation between my husband and Radio Thompson. And I heard them comment, said, "We have our work cut out for us," meaning the journey would be a struggle. Lester knew there would be difficult situations, but because of the opportunity to serve, Lester served with dignity and faithfully executed his duties as alderman, vice mayor, and treasurer of the city of Danville. And my time of service as alderwoman for the city of Danville is challenging, yet it's rewarding. I stated after I was sworn in 2015, this is where the pulse of the people can be felt. And as the people's alderman for the city of Danville, I will and continue to carry out the duties expected of me. At this time, I will call those that have served, the African Americans that have served in the city of Danville, starting with Ward 1.
Alderwoman Brown, I apologize for interrupting. We do have several of the former aldermen with us. When she states your name, if you're present, could you please rise and be acknowledged?
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Ward 1 Alderman Lester M. Brown served 1987 to 2003, served as vice mayor 1991 to 1993 and 1999 to 2001. He passed away on February 29th, 2016. Eugene Radio Thompson served 1987 to 1993. Was also the first vice mayor. And that's when it was established that this council would have a vice mayor. So Eugene Radio Thompson served as the first vice mayor 1989 to 1991. He passed away March 11th, 2019. Lafayette Shaw served 1993 to 1996, passed away on February 28, 2010. George Jempson Jr. served 1997 to 2003, and he died while in office on September 6, 2004. Robert Boyd served 2003 to 2005. Tommy Reed served 2004 to 2009. DeMarco Wright served 2005 to 2011. Ricky Williams Jr. served 2009 to 2018, Vice Mayor 2013 to 2017. Kevin Davis served 2011 to 2015. Brenda Brown served 2015 to this present day. I also served as Vice Mayor 2017 to 2019. Robert Williams served 2019 to this present date. Ward 3 Alderman Reverend Roosevelt R.J. Davis served 2013 to 2021. Ward 4 Alderwoman Tricia Teague was recently elected in 2021. Ward 5 Alderman Jose Velasquez served 2002 to 2003. Ward 7 Alderman Lloyd Randall. Will you please stand? I did see him. I'm not sure who he's. Oh, there he is over here. Lloyd Randall served 2002. Okay, served from 2015, to 2019. To date, no African American has served in Ward 2 nor in Ward 6. African Americans who served in elected or appointed positions. Gail Brandon served as treasurer. She was appointed in 1990, elected in 1991, and served until 2004. Lester M. Brown, appointed as city treasurer 2004, elected in 2005, and served until 2007. Mayor Ricky Williams Jr. served as acting mayor 2018 to 2019. And he was elected as Danville's first African-American mayor in 2019. I thank you all for listening. It was a little lengthy, but If I had my way, I could talk for a long time about some of these issues. As Radio Thompson used to say, the struggle continues.
Amen. Thank you, Alderwoman Brown. At this time, I would like to invite to the podium Alderwoman Sharon Pickering, better known as Sherry.
Thank you. First, I would like to thank the 7 plaintiffs for their courage and foresight to establish the best form of government to represent our diverse population in Danville. The plaintiffs not only opened up representation to Black residents, but also to the women. Gail Brandon was the first woman to serve in the elected position of treasurer. She served from 1990 to 2004. Teresa Wynn served from April 2007 to October of 2007. Lisa Monson served from 2007 to 2013, and Stephanie Wilson served from 2013 to present. Danville's first election for the mayor-aldermanic form of government was held in 1987, and 3 women were elected alderwomen: Lois Cooper in Ward 2, Barb Volk in Ward 5, and Nancy Madem in Ward 6. Lois Cooper was also the first woman to serve as vice mayor from December 1994 to May of 1995. The women who have served as alderwomen include the following: Ward 1, Brenda Brown, presently serving. She also served as vice mayor from 2017 to 2019. Ward 2, Carolyn Wands, presently serving. Ward 3, Sharon McMahon and Albert Gilbert. Heidi Patel and myself, Sherry Pickering, both presently serving. Ward 4, Joy Palmer, Nancy O'Kane, who also served as vice mayor from 2003 to 2005. Sharon McMahon, and presently serving Tricia Teague. Ward 5, Eve Ludwig, presently serving. Ward 6, Linda Bolton, and Ward 7, Betty Brown. As noted above, all wards have been represented by women at one time and point. Women represent 51% of the Danville's population in 2019. Presently, 6 women are serving on the city council, which is the most at the same time, and express their appreciation for the opportunity to serve under the mayor-aldermanic form of government. Thank you.
As you can see, there are a lot of folks who would not be able to serve had it not been for your courage, gentlemen. You look behind me and you see a lot of faces that would not be there. You look before you and you see a face, including mine, that wouldn't be. Oftentimes, we think about the South. We point the finger to where my dad's people came from Mississippi. We look at Georgia, we look at Alabama, but sometimes we forget about our own backyard. I was 9 years old, y'all. 9 years old. This is not ancient history. This was recent. This was recent. So what I want to say, as I said to some of the news folks earlier today, what you all did reminds me of the importance of doing what's right. When these men took this stand, some of them were threatened. Their lives were threatened. Their livelihoods were threatened. Some of their families were threatened. But they were willing to take a stand because they knew that the cause of freedom was just. They knew that the cause of freedom was right. Y'all knew that the cause of freedom was right. As I look at you, we often say we stand on the shoulders of giants. And the truth is, literally, there is no me without you. I would have never had the chance. It took us almost 200 years to get to this point. I want to say thank you. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for your foresight. And thank you for fighting against something that seemed like it was impossible to overcome. Because you made a difference. You changed history for the city of Danville. And everyone in Danville not only has a chance to be represented, but to represent others because you took power to the system. Because you used the strength that you had to stand up and say, well, this is not acceptable. We will not take this anymore. So I just want to say on behalf of each of us, we've talked about minorities, we've talked about women, but guess what? You also didn't get elected if you weren't from a certain part of town. So a number of the white gentlemen who are serving with me today would not be able to. So you think about that. There might only be 2 of us up here, if that could be serving if you all had not taken a stand. So I want to say I'm proud of you. I'm honored, and I pray to God that myself and this council will do everything that we can always to honor your legacy and the legacy of those that have gone on. Before I introduce each of you, I want to present you with something. It's something that will stand here in City Hall for as long as City Hall lives. And next to it will be the copy of the proclamation which we issued on your behalf. I know that in real life, the 7 of you were never able to sit for one painting, right? We all have the one in the commercial news where there were 6 of y'all, but I think Mr. Abram was missing in that one. And then there was another one where 6 of y'all were in formal clothes like we are tonight, but I believe Mr. Thompson was missing for that. So thankfully, with modern technology, we had someone do a little magic and put y'all all together. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want you all to know that not only will you be receiving a framed copy of the proclamation, but you will also be receiving a copy of the picture as well. Mrs. Sandra French, our Human Relations Administrator, also has, unfortunately, they're not framed, but for the other siblings, the other direct descendants, we do have some additional copies that y'all would be welcome to as well. So we're proud of you. We're thankful for you. We also do have a copy that we will be presenting to the fellowship, Laura Lee Fellowship House, that will be able to hang there as well. So. At this time, gentlemen and descendants, it's your time to shine. You've heard a whole bunch of us lament about some things that some of us didn't even recognize until recently, but y'all lived it. So at this time, I'm going to invite you forward, along with Alderman Teague, to help me with some presentations. Again, I'm calling you in the order of the lawsuit, so please note that. At this time, and I love these 2. They've encouraged me so much along the way. At this time, honoring Mr. Albert Pete Derrickson, I would like to have come forward his daughters, Ms. Priscilla Derrickson Bradbury and Alita Derrickson Randall. Ladies, the floor is yours.
I would have to go first. We are here, excuse me. We are here today to pay homage to 7 African-American men who changed the course of history for the city of Danville. These men were deemed the Magnificent Seven by their peers and members of the Black community. They were men of standard, leaders in the community, legends in their own time. They put their reputations and their lives on the line for the common good of those disenfranchised. We will never know the magnitude of the sacrifices that were made by a single decision. A decision to not just rock the boat, but to shake up City Hall to become the plaintiffs in a federal voting rights lawsuit filed against the city of Danville on January 14, 1987. The lawsuit was said to be in violation of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 as amended in 1982. The lawsuit based on the Voting Rights Act alleged that the commission form of government and its at-large elections diluted African-American voting strength and prevented them from electing a representative to city government. The suit seeks to abolish the commission form of government in favor of one base on representatives elected from geographic districts, i.e. the mayor-aldermanic form. Can you imagine what that first meeting was like? In my vivid imagination, I envisioned it might have been something like the scene from the movie One Night in Miami with Jim Brown, Malcolm X, Muhammad Ali, and Sam Cooke. And they were meeting in a hotel room, and Malcolm X leans forward and he looks at his friends and he says to them, "You brothers have the power to move mountains without lifting a finger." And that's just what they did. The commercial news, and that's just what they did. The commercial news article said, and I quote, "They didn't just fight City Hall, they changed it and made an indelible mark on the history of Danville." These 7 men are Frank Abram, Bashir Ali, Nate Cunningham, Wentz Cunningham Jr., Reverend R.J. Davis, Eugene Thompson, and my father, Albert Derrickson. I am here today to introduce you to one of the men behind the mission, my personal hero, the real MVP, my father, Albert Derrickson. My father was an extraordinary man, a visionary with a powerful and effective voice for the people. He was a man of integrity, a gentleman. He was extremely intelligent, always reading and learning. He was a rich man, not in material possessions, but in character and in compassion for his fellow man. My dad was a champion of civil rights and never walked away from a fight, especially a fight for economic, social, and racial injustice. Even as a young boy in high school, he recognized that there were clubs for white students and one for Black females, but none for Black males. So he helped organize the AAA Club for Black males and became its first president. As a Golden Gloves boxer, he earned the name Pistol Pete. That's how he got the name Pete. Y'all was wondering that, weren't you? And was a fierce fighter, even in the boxing ring. In my book, he was the GOAT. He was a fierce advocate and leader with the UAW Local 579. He was instrumental in effecting many changes involving the human and civil rights of local and regional citizens, including the desegregation of public schools, playgrounds, pools, public housing, local bowling alleys, and theaters. Like Dr. Martin Luther King, he too believed that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. He was also a devoted husband, father, grandfather, brother, mentor, and friend. I feel like we have come full circle. Isn't it ironic that my father, who was the lead plaintiff in the lawsuit to change the city's form of government, and my husband, Lloyd Randall, in April of 2015, 28 years later, was elected to serve as alderman in Ward 7 because of that change and the vision of these 7 brave men. I think that's pretty awesome. I believe if my father was here today, he might leave you with this quote by John Wesley, which says, "Do all the good that you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can." I would like for my family to please stand, wherever you are, please stand, family. To Mayor Williams and the Danville City Council, on behalf of our father, our late father, with great pride and gratitude, we thank you for this distinguished honor.
Mr. Eugene Radio Thompson. One of the best compliments I ever had was he told me, "Rick, you're kind of like me, except you're just a little more polite." He just needed to wait a few more years and see some of my Facebook posts. But anyway, at this time, accepting on his behalf is his niece, Miss Bridget Thompson.
Good evening. I am the stand-in, stand-by for the family of Uncle Gene. It is my privilege to receive this honor on behalf of him posthumously, for his children, for the family, and just an honor. As I reflected back, as I was kind of thrust into this environment for this role, I thought about him, and I was reflecting back to the 18-year-old who said he was wild and crazy and enlisted in the Army because everybody else was doing it. And he wanted to go and hold up the banner, excuse me, of his family name. And he has done just that. Uncle Gene, the baby of 5, never knew his mother and was raised in the children's home with his siblings, but he was scrappy. He was the fighter of the family, but he did not get there by himself. The original Forever 5, Eugene, Henry, Hallie, Robert, and William, were all part of his fabric of his life. And the battalion that Uncle Gene was under when he enlisted in the Army had a motto that was "We Pierce," which was so appropriate for him because we all know he wasn't afraid to poke the bear.
You got that right.
Uncle Gene was a sergeant, and when he came back from serving in Europe, as being a tank battalion, he was thrust into an environment where his medals didn't matter. His stripes and his 5 stars didn't matter. So that started his quest. It continued from the time that he served, and he obviously had a spirit of being in charge and taking care of other people. That is how he earned the ranks that he did. What some may not know is that the nickname Radio was in part included, it came because of Pete Derrickson. Uncle Gene and Pete were playing on a baseball team for the UAW. Once again, another piece of fabric of his life of fighting for the rights of other people. And Uncle Gene was talking so much to encourage people. He said lively chatter that Pete Derrickson said, "Man, you sound like a radio out there." And so all of the people said, "Turn off the radio." So that is how the nickname Radio came about. But his desire to fight for the betterment of all environments, it wasn't just about people of color. It was about ill treatment of anybody. Uncle Gene believed that. It was steadfast. It was part of ingrained in him. And it wasn't just about politics. Of course, he recognized cronyism when it was at play under the Commission form of government. But it wasn't just about that. It was about common sense. Anybody who paid attention to how things were happening. And he always said that there may have been some decisions and that he made that maybe he had second thoughts about or not regrets, but reevaluated. But he believed in what he thought. He believed in what he fought for. He didn't care if you didn't agree with him. And that was not unlike his siblings. They were all like that. They didn't care, even between each other. They all had their simple way of thinking. But one thing was for sure, as Thompsons, we all came together when it mattered. So the fabric of who we are is ingrained in us, not just because of how they were brought up, but because of who they became in terms of life for each other. Living in the children's home, it was all about being responsible for each other. So in Uncle Gene's words, he was once asked what he thought, what his opinion was about discrimination. And he said, until we address the housing, food, and clothing needs of people of all color, we are just spinning our wheels. The failure to attack these issues is the germ, the fungus that feeds the racist thought. And I think about what would he think about today? I really miss that I can't talk to him, talk politics, but I think he would be a little brokenhearted because as he always said, the struggle continues and it seems like the struggle is regurgitating itself. So we have to remember who these people are, what they did for us, and continue to live up to the legacy. And we plan to do that. So I thank you.
At this time, we would like to honor and bring forward Reverend Roosevelt J. Davis, my friend. Now, Rev, we all know you have never been shy about taking the floor, but just remember about 5 minutes, okay?
Your Honor, I was hoping that you would call me almost last. I told my pastor who's here, I said they were going to be honoring us. And I said, Your Honor, if they give me anything to say, I probably need to write it down because I will probably be all over the place. I will be going from here to there and having what I have to say. When I first came aboard as alderman, I stood in this spot and I said to the alderman, my fellow alderman, I said, you all think I'm going to come and use this as a bully pulpit. I said to the alderman, do you remember that? You remember that when I came aboard? Ricky, you were an alderman with me. And I surprised him. I didn't come raising no HELL. I respected every one of them because I came aboard as a plaintiff. I came aboard when a group of us met at the fellowship house. We affectionately called it the house. and there were many of us men there. And I want to say that Bashir and the rest of you guys, we were fortunate that we were the ones who were selected. But at the fellowship house there were names that could have been in our place. Dr. Henderson could have been a plaintiff. Alderman Beese's husband, Alderman Brown, he could have been a plaintiff. Dwight Lucas could have been a plaintiff. Dr. Dave Fields could have been a plaintiff. Reverend MacArthur Pendleton could have been a plaintiff. There were so many in that room until the lawyer, he only told us to get 7. Attorney Craze from Springfield, he said, look, I think you all will win because Springfield, which is our state's capital, they've just had it and they won it. They had the commissioner form of government and they won. And I failed of it. Lloyd Randall could have been in that place on that time. And then I see Chief over there. I think Chief was still with the police department in Washington, D.C. at that time. I think you were. But there were a lot of them who could have been here, who could have been the plaintiff, but we 7. And I'm so grateful that I was there. Now, I was a different person then. Lord willing, month after next, I'll be 85. I was a maverick. I was a hothead. I remember when we would have the meetings and the judge, he would have us sit in his study and he would let me sit in his seat. And I remember we tried to take names and kick backsides. We were rough. Danville, with that commissioner form of government, they all lived in the same neighborhood and they all were not of color. And so that's what spurred us, because we followed what Springfield had done and we knew Danville needed representative government. And so we got it and we won. I am so happy. Now, how many years? It's been 34 years since that happened. 34 years. And we have come a long way. I was reading today in the paper that Danville, of all the cities in central Illinois, is the city that has lost more people. You should know this, Mayor. You aldermen ought to know this. Check this out. This is in today's paper. All of the cities in central Illinois, Danville has lost almost 4,000 people. I'm going somewhere now. The reason why we've lost that, one of the big problems, and I don't want to, Pastor, get all over the place. One of the reasons why we lost, the last thing you said at this meeting tonight, someone made statements about crime. And you said, Your Honor, tonight that if you see something, say something. Well, I can tell you. And I had a pastor, I was ordained in the ministry in 1964. And I had some of the finest preachers of the Baptist denomination in America. And my pastor at that time was L.W. Craig. In later years, he said to me, he said, Reverend Davis, he said, I'm not going to waste no more sermons. And I looked at him. I said, Reverend Pastor, what'd you say? He said, I am not going to waste no more sermons. And I wondered where he was going. And then all of a sudden, he made it plain. He said, I've pastored you and others through the years, and there are things I didn't say that I should have said. He said, there's a life I lived at times that I shouldn't have lived. He said, but now, the balance of my days, I'm going to serve God in sincerity and in truth. The balance of my days as a pastor, and as I've been pastored people for over 30, 40 years, he said, my lifestyle will be one where I will live it and then give it. That stuck with me through the years. But you know what? I didn't follow all of it because the churches I've pastored, I need to go to them and apologize and say, hey, I could have been a better pastor and I wasn't. My lifestyle could have been in line, but it wasn't. And I'm sorry. I could have told them that famous prayer in Psalm 51, where God's man, whom God said is a man after my own heart, he busted him because he messed up. But he said, God, I'm not playing no blame game. I messed up with that man's wife. I messed up. And what he did was he took my mind to Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, God gave them everything and told them what to do and not to do. And then when he busted them, they came to God. God said, you messed up. And the first thing Adam said, the woman you gave me, blame game. When he went to the woman said, the serpent who Jesus called the devil in John 10, the thief who comes to steal, kill, and destroy. The blame game. We don't even want to talk about the Satan. But where I'm going here is, I am sick and tired of the blame game. I told you a few minutes ago, if the Lord lets me live, I will be 85 years old. So I don't care what anybody says. I'm not trying to save no sermon. I'm not trying to please nobody, Your Honor. And I hope you hear me. And I hope the rest of you all hear me. I hope my plaintiffs hear me. I'm not trying. But one of the things what a great day we had at the fellowship house. That day when we selected, when your husband and your father, you all were there. What a great day. And we thought from now on, and at that time, Danville was a city. No city in Illinois could beat Danville, how it was in terms of their school district. District 118 was the finest school district in all of Illinois. The people of Danville, we black folks loved each other. We respected each other. Now, you said it last. Somebody ought to say something. Crime and the blame game. The blame game now is we black folk want to blame white folk for all of the killings in our neighborhoods. We black folks, y'all love me, but I'm 85 and I can handle whatever you all say, the rest of my plaintiffs. It is a sin and a shame as I stand here, the way we black people kill each other and the way we glorify a group called Black Lives Matter. And I would say that this council, and you all know I would say it, the commercial news never printed it. None of you all ever went out and say, Reverend David stood there and say, I love police. Can you imagine how America would be in the black community if we had no policemen? And I would say it, and you know I would say it. Sometimes BC would get on me, but I didn't care. And guess what? It's out of sight now. Black on black crime is out of sight. We have vilified criminals. We hate policemen. And I'm glad today that whenever I see a policeman, thank you, Danville's finest. Now, I will say this. I know there are prejudiced policemen. I know there are policemen who have shot and killed some of our black men. But I can tell you, we need to go to the record. From 30 years, 3 decades to now, check the records. How many black men have been killed by policemen? 30 years to now, How many black men have been killed by black men? And it hurts me. I want to say this, and they've heard me say this on the council. I said, you know what? I don't know, but of one person for sure that loves black people more than me, and that's Jesus. Only one. Now you can say, Reverend Davis, I feel the same way, and I will not challenge you because that's John 3:16. And it's a shame. And our church, we say this. We say at our church, how can I help you? When I finish, and I want to say to you all, how can you help me? Here's the way you can help me. First place, when you read that mess on Black Lives Matter, when you see the killings, you write your newspapers, sound it out. Where is Black Lives Matter? How can you help me when you see all of the carnage and all the mess and all of our beautiful young men and women being shot down like flies? You ought to say, where is Black Lives Matter? Where is Black Lives Matter? Chief, you might have a few prejudiced policemen, but I think the whole force, you all should be more honest with black people in terms of crime. You all should make it plain. And all of you all out here, if you want to help me, when you see crime going down, call them out. Jesus called them out. God called them out. David had the reason to say he was sorry with the way he lived. I tell you, I was sorry that I didn't do a good job as being an alderman. I was sorry that I didn't pastor the churches like I should have. I was sorry when I didn't do right with my wife at times when I left this town. But now, one day at a time, if God gives me tomorrow Wednesday, I will have two choices. One choice is to follow God. You know what my second choice is? Is to ignore the devil. Is to do what the Bible said. He hates me. If you resist him, he will flee from you. But my people, and I'm going to take my seat. Thank you for give me the time. My people, bind in. I dare you to do the figures for 3 decades of how many black men have killed each other. I dare you to look at the figures of how many black men has killed black men. I dare you. I could almost cry, Your Honor. And you all never spread the word. If commercial news didn't do it, you all should have said it. Alderman Davis called them out. You all never did that. You all never said it. How can you help me? Call them out. How can you help me? Say, where's Black Lives Matter? How can you help me? 3 killed in Danville last week. Where's Black Lives Matter? How can you help me? 5 killed some other city. Call them out. No, son. Young man, no. Call them out and you can help me. Call them out. I love policemen. My uncles were policemen. When I got out of the army, I was due to be a policeman. But I went to Bible school because I knew God was calling me to preach. Call them out. I'd love to meet them. Call Black Lives Matter out. Where are you when they're hollering? Where are you? Where are you when they're killing each other? Where are your marches? But you're going to give me something now.
Yeah, see.
Call them out.
At this time, we would like to honor Mr. Bashir Ali.
This is my talk right here. Hopefully it'll be 5 minutes. Honorable Mayor, Honorable Council, Honorable Senator, Honorable Plaintiffs, Honorable Family of Danville. Thank you so much for this distinguished honor, and I want to give you some personal reflections for a few minutes. It was a blessing to go behind two of my mentors, Mr. Derrickson and Mr. Thompson. They mentored me. The rest of the plaintiffs were my peers, and we worked together. Those two men taught me and helped me be the man I am. With their wisdom, with their knowledge, with their foresight, with their passion. And there were two different personalities, if you know them. Two totally different personalities. Mr. Derrickson was very wise, cerebral, a strategist, and very kind and loving person. Mr. Thompson, a fireball, loved to talk, full of passion. And he was a tireless worker, just like Mr. Derrickson, on behalf of the community. I want to thank them, as well as my co-plaintiffs. I want to thank the community that supported this effort, that brought us to this point, that continues to struggle. You know, we made a stand despite the consequences. When the call was made and when the question was asked, we stood up without thinking twice, because the penalties, the consequences were secondary to the struggle, to what had to be done, what was the right thing to do. We opened this meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. We said, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. We want to have one community under God, with liberty and justice for all. And sometimes that's not easy. Sometimes you have to take a stand, and sometimes you have to question the thinking, the policies, and the structure. This country was built upon an aspiration. Unlike any other country in the world, it was built upon an aspiration. And we're always in the process of realizing that aspiration. We never can reach it because it's an ideal. But as long as we put our heart and soul and mind and passion and struggle into the ideal, we can make progress. You see progress. This is progress. When we started this struggle, it didn't look like this. I think it was 5 men. Today, you have a beautiful diversity of Danville, and I honor you. And I honor your struggle, and I honor your ability to maintain the struggle. So as we accept this great honor on behalf of the city, I also want to thank you for your continuing the struggle. Never give it up. Continue with the aspiration. Continue with the work. Continue with the passion. Peace and blessings. I say.
At this time, we honor Mr. Frank Abram, deceased. Accepting on his behalf is his son, Mr. Elliot Abram.
Well, before I even start talking, I'm gonna say this is seriously unfair. I had to follow Reverend Davis and then Mr. Ali. Not cool at all. Not cool at all. But I'm gonna try to get through it. I'm on behalf of my family. I want to thank the city council and the mayor for recognizing my father and all of these great men's accomplishments. I'm not going to call them the Danville Seven or the seven plaintiffs. I'm just going to call them family, because that's what Danville means to me. So I respect what you guys did. And one of the things that I always remember, none of you ever talked about it. Nobody said a word. I came back here after 2 years. I ran and joined the Army as soon as I got out of high school. But I came back, and had I not seen an article from Commercial News, I never would have known, because my father didn't say anything. You don't need to talk. You just do. And that's what I took from it. And I appreciate the opportunity to come up here and talk to you guys.
At this time, a man who doesn't need much introduction, but also one of my favorite coaches of all time, Mr. Nate Cunningham, Sr.
Well, we got a little fire and brimstone a few minutes ago. And I'm afraid that I'm not going to go that way. I want to just tell you a bit about my personal experiences with Danville. Even before I ever got into our education system here, my 8 sisters always made sure that I had a jump on reading, writing, and arithmetic. And for whatever reason, I've always had the good luck of having someone to keep me in that cocoon, so all that bad stuff that happens on the outside never penetrated me. I went to an all-black grade school from 1 through 6th grade. I never thought anything about it, never thought a thing about it until someone mentioned it to me. Okay? My first experience with white children was at Washington Grade School. All positive stuff, all positive stuff. I didn't know that all that positive stuff wasn't happening to everybody else, but it was happening to me because I happened to be a fairly decent athlete. That's what they told me anyway. And that's how things have went for me personally throughout my career. From Washington Grade School to Northridge Junior High, to Danville High School, there was always someone there making sure that my pathway was cleared. All I had to do was be a good athlete and be a good student. Oh, heck, that's easy. So I did that. But one of the things that I didn't realize is that not all of the students in my high school group were giving those classes for prep for college. I just thought everybody got it. And I didn't realize that because there was never any reason to talk about that. But my point is this. We presently live in an all-Republican area. But look at this city council. That is America. Right behind me, that's America. And we want that to continue. And I'm in hopes that it certainly will. And I am not going to sit here and go on and on about anything negative. All I can tell you is that my life has been filled with so much positive things that I have nothing to complain about. My father a sharecropper from Arkansas, realized that he couldn't make it down there under those circumstances. He never said anything negative about anybody to me as a child. He just scooped us all up and brought us to a place where he had an opportunity to make things better for us. Now, we're talking almost a tribe now. We're talking 8 girls and 6 boys, okay? And they, every one of those sisters of mine, every one of those brothers of mine, always made sure that all of that bad stuff kept away from Nate. No, Nate, you're not going to do that. No, Nate, you're not going to do that. And to this day, as an adult, I love them and I truly appreciate them. And I want to say, Ricky, my old offensive tackle there. This guy was quite an athlete. You might not know it, but he opened a lot of holes for our running backs. I'm going to tell you.
1,000 yards in the first undefeated season in almost 20 years, right, Coach?
There you go. There you go. And without much more ado, I just simply want to say thank you, Danville. I'm a child of Danville. I've lived from California to Massachusetts to Michigan to Texas, Georgia. I've been all over the country, Indiana, Illinois. And yes, those at different times were some tough places. But I want you to know, I love America. And America's treated me pretty well. And as far as Black Lives Matter is concerned, I would like for us to stay on target. Reverend Roosevelt, I think you got off target a little bit. And it wasn't about they would jump out every time there's a killing among Black people. We don't see white people jumping out and say white lives matter when white people kill each other. I'm just simply saying that what they were trying to say, there are a number of incidents that really puts our country to shame, and we don't want that. So without much more ado, I thank you.
And last but certainly not least, we honor Mr. Vince Cunningham Jr.
That's what you get when your last name starts with a W. And your first name starts with a W. But I'm going to do like Bashir. I'm not going to stand up here and spend 20 hours talking to you about things. I want to say this is the end of the lack of recognition for how wonderful the city council look. 34 years ago, it could have been 88 when they brought us back and talked about the wonderfulness of this city council. But there was a group of very powerful white men, I'll be very honest with you, who didn't want that recognition. They didn't want that to happen. I wasn't run out of town. I just told you better think about looking for a job somewhere else. And that was not a problem because I was educated like my brother Nate and I had an opportunity to go to Peoria because I had a friend named Bashir. So it's just for you to know that it wasn't by accident they didn't do this until now. It wasn't by accident. There was those powerful people in Danville who refused to let this type of government stand. Lord Randall, at the time was an alderman, he sent and asked us to come back to a meeting out Danville Community College when another group of powerful vested interest white citizens wanted to change the government again because they were unwilling to recognize how wonderful what you see up front. Let me do a little historical thing. Now, you don't know Bam, but I know Bam. Bam had the only basketball rim in the whole Black community down in the Jackson-Bowman area. He put up his dad or somebody put up a wooden board and he put up that basket you see you put your fruits in, and we'd have every kid from miles away to go play basketball in the back of Bam's yard. And I can go on and on about people that I see. But this is the beginning of a new day. I hope you put that on the wall, Your Honor, so people can see it when they come by, that it wasn't by accident that we changed the city government.
It's gonna go right there, Mr. Kine.
Okay,
So
good.
everyone will see it as
But
they
this
come.
is in the basement, man. I want it up in the top. I want it up top. Anybody, wait a minute.
Most of the people come for business.
No, I want you to make sure it's upstairs at the front door. So I want everybody to come in here and go find where it's at. I'm sorry that
There's gonna be a copy in my office and Sister.
no, I want that big plaque that over there, upstairs on the first floor. Now, y'all might laugh about that, but I'm saying that there's been an effort to ignore what happened. So you need to make it the most prominent place you could find. If I had a chance, and I forgot the Civic Center is about getting ready to close down, right? The Civic Center getting ready to close down? Oh, it looked like it's falling down, so I was wondering about it. And that's my other point. I'll leave it this way. This government can work if you citizens get behind it. This government is working in spite of you not getting behind it. I bet you, if I asked the honor, how many black folks showed up at a city council meeting like this? How many black folks been showing up at a city council meeting?
Only a handful of folks here.
Okay, so every time I see, Reverend Davis, every time I see your wife, I ask you, I ask her every time I see her when I come to Danville, when the last time you talked to the mayor? I don't want y'all to let the mayor be isolated from the black community. Don't let him, he's a young, dynamic, energized young man. He needs to know that y'all support him. And he didn't know that there may be some things that y'all need to hear, he need to hear from you about the community. And the only way you're gonna get that is by you taking time to meet with him. Invite him to coffee. 4 or 5 of you, 10 of you, invite him somewhere. I think there's a restaurant downtown again still, right? And I'm being serious when I said it. I'm joking with you, but I'm serious. The only body can make Danville be successful and succeed is the people in this room and the rest of the folk in the city. Everybody's kind of, okay, it ain't my fault down all the businesses left. It ain't my fault that nobody want to, no, it's your fault because you want to step forward. Step forward and become part of it. And the only way that's going to happen is you truly believe that this is your home. And the last thing I'll say, Your Honor, is that I took a little tour with my sister in the Jackson-Bowman area. I was raised in Carver Park. We were raised in Carver Park. We ended up eventually moving on Jewel Street. And now that I ride through that area, there's a complete, not your fault, but it is your fault, City Council, to let the inner city of Danville to die like that. There's no hope there. There's no hope there. So I'm asking you to rethink your whole housing approach and begin to say that that's a place that a lot of your prominent citizens were raised and was born. And to watch it the way it's been dying, I'm not mad at Lawhoff. I'm just disappointed that Lawhoff ended up taking up. I love Van Buren Street. I think that's where my brother Roosevelt met his wife, right there on Stony Creek on Van Buren. I'm taking that from my brother. He can't go down there and remember the time he met his wife. And I'm not joking about this, guys. I'm kind of make it a little soft, not an anger like some people did in the room today. But I'm just saying to you that we definitely need to think that there's a future for Jackson-Bowman. Now, Reverend Davis brought up a very important point. How are we going to deal with the fact that our young people kill each other? It's not necessarily all their fault, but it is some of their fault. Now, I would hope that group of you would ask the mayor to start holding some town meetings around the community to encourage and engage those black folk in the community, like Brother Butler, he's always been active. Let's start to talk about it. I know a lot of the kids that are out there doing things. By the way, I want to make sure you understand that I know what it means to have family die. I lost my brother Henry. He was stabbed to death in some house. I don't call it what it was. Then I just lost my nephew. I lost 2 nephews. I lost Cedric. He was shot in the back of the head. And then finally, we lost Tyrone. Now, all these kids played football, and as Ned said, we wrapped arms around them, kept them as best we could, but they're 30, 40 years old then. So I'm asking you to rethink the whole issue about Black Lives Matter. The Black Lives Matter is more than just the fact that they ignored the black on black crime. It's about trying to get the police department to be less engaged in perhaps of intimidating and maybe killing the people that they stop. So I want you to say this is the day forward that we're going to respect and love the new city council structure. And it's been 34 years before we've done this. So I ask you again to make it that you're going to come and show up and talk to the mayor and invite him into the community as often as possible. Offer him coffee, offer him some of that good cooking y'all do down in the neighborhood. But he needs to know that you're behind him and that you got some ideas to help him bring forward. And the final thing I want to say is that I saw that you're going to get $25 million through the COVID funding program. Now, I would hope that you would take some of that money and just in the Jackson-Bowman area, to be the pilot project, there are too many homes that have been burned down that are sitting there. So I'm just asking you to take some of that money and start to tear down some of those structures. I don't know, Bam, you still live on the same street? On College Street. I mean, he's sitting there and he's alderman. So I'm asking you guys to maybe think about that. Just a little money, seed money, to start to revive the hope in the Jackson-Bowman area. And one of the key ways of doing it is to take down some of those units that are very dangerous. I worked for 30 years in public housing. Got lucky to go to Tampa, Florida, after Bear Sheridan fired me out of Peoria. and when I got a chance, yeah, I know you did. I know you brought me there. But my point is that when I got down to Tampa, our units look just like Fair Oaks in most cases. If you were to come down here 20 years later, I retired 6 years ago now, you would be amazed how beautiful the units look. There's a real program together for low-income housing that look like any kind of housing. It's mixed income property. It's beautiful. It's well designed. It's got street lights. It is just a place to go. It's got all kinds of amenities for the kids to have things to do. Now, I'm asking that you think about that. Some kind of low-income housing program to start to make Jackson-Bowman feel like they're still part of the city. With that in mind, I want to thank you personally, Mayor Williams, for taking the time to inviting us. And I don't know if y'all know that, but Carl G. Alexander was born in Carver Park. Just because he was a chief of police, you won't forget that he was from Carver Park. I want everybody to know that he was there. But I haven't seen Carl for a while. Good seeing you, brother. But I'm asking you guys not to walk away and leave Mayor Williams by himself. He needs your support. And we need your support in terms of our kids killing each other. We've experienced it personally. So I want you to know that I'm not talking against anyone. I'm just saying it's vital that we start to see if our kids can be saved, who in turn will save their kids, and who in turn will save our great-grandkids. And so I'm asking you guys to give Mayor Williams your support by showing up to the state council meetings, by bringing information and petitions and asking for things that you know you need in the community. Now, we can do something about Lawhoff, not taking it out, but we need to build around it to make it look like it's part of the city, not isolating the way it's going. Is Louise Cunningham here? I promised her the last time I saw her that I was going to say something about her home. If you don't know, if you ride, Seminary was a bad street when I was a young boy. We loved it. Now with that fence up, Louise Cunningham, who's 75 years old like me, don't know what to do at home because it has no value. So there ought to be a program that help those kinds of families not to have to be left with that type of, best way to enhance your wealth is by owning property. I think the Lawhoff would not have bought that whole street and turned it into whatever industrial area that they could. But Louise is sitting there by herself. I sat down, I came by about a year or two ago, and I saw her sitting on the porch. And I stopped my car in the middle of Seminary and went over and sat down with her. She gave me a glass of tea, and she started to tell me about how bad it was. So I'm just laying out a few things you guys can think about and work on. But I wish and pray that a portion of that $25 million will start to tear down those units that are an eyesore and very dangerous. And my sister, Ann, called you up and she'll fuss you out. There's a family across the street. It's a white guy moving into the neighborhood. It's not racial, but it's the truth. He moved into her neighborhood. He came from Westville, and I guess he was a junkyard man there, and he's moving into their neighborhood. And now it's a junkyard all around his house. I was appalled. And my sister has done all she can to keep her house up. You ride by, that's the only house is all brick. It's got a tent roof on it. It's a beautiful place. And to think that she put all her General Motors money in that house, and now she got to live with the fact that he's devaluating her property. And she said she's called her 50 times now, and nothing has happened. It's not a personal complaint. It's just an example of the things that hope that you, the city council, will take a look at. $25 million, portion that could go into tearing down those homes right away. That would give me hope. I know it would give my sister hope. You're gonna give me my $25 back, right? But anyway, I want to thank you for taking the time. And thank you, Mayor and City Council, for the honor. If it did take 34 years. Why am I in the back? Why do you put Reverend Davis in the back? Thank you. Well, Mr. Cunningham, you will be glad to know that we are taking your request seriously already. In the past 2 years alone, we have torn down over 150 houses. Most of those have been in Ward 1. We torn down the most houses there than we have in any other ward. Yes, sir. The problem is we had a town of 43,000 in 1970. We got a town of 27,000 now. So we have to do the best we can with what we've got, but I promise you we're making progress. Right. Right. Thank you, man.
Thank you, sir. Well, you guys have probably been smelling it for a while now, as I have. We've got some food, but I need to I'd ask that you please just stay just a moment so we can officially conclude the meeting. Then we'll invite the plaintiffs up to take pictures in front of the seal. And while they're doing that, if anyone would like to start eating, you can go ahead on into the community room. But please stay for just 2 minutes so we can officially conclude the meeting and then move forward. Thank you very much. I also want to say, someone mentioned it briefly, but I want to say thank you to the families. I don't know what it must have been like for you all to be worried about your father, your brother, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, and what they had to go through. We often forget the families. So I just want to make sure that I say personally to you, thank you very much for the sacrifices that you all made to make the Danville of today possible. There is no need for closed session. Having it satisfied the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
You ready to go eat?
Well, man, I need to go fix myself first.
Okay. I'm with you on that. I understand.
I got you a lot of copies, but I have some of these.
Yeah, he goes to the Planet Fitness and works out.